Peace, peace. Greetings to you all. It's your brother Naheem, BKA Lord Abba, aka Mr. Just the Facts. We have an interesting topic tonight about reparations. You know, we're reparationists, so we got to talk about the thing that is the basis of the Be the Power platform, along with political power and political advocacy. And a recent article just came out, so we want to touch on that and some other things. Make sure y'all hit that like button, family. Send your contributions to our platform via Cash App, $ Be the Power. You can also contribute via the PayPal link is now in the description. You can become a Patreon member, a monthly subscriber, a monthly contributor. You can also use that super chat, family, and just hit the like button. You know, hitting the like button don't cost us a thing. We'll bring my brother Josh up in here. Peace. What's going on, Josh?
Peace, peace, peace.
Yeah, I see everybody in the chat. Peace, fam. I see y'all, brother Dre, Kato, Catching Family, Cool, UTLS, United Through Life Struggles. Peace to everybody that's in here so far. Asim, Mate, Majet. We're going to have a good conversation tonight. We are going to have a good conversation tonight. Make sure y'all share this out, family. We want to start this off by playing a video by Dr. Sandy Darity and A. Kirsten Mullen, author of the book Where Do there I go again. From Here to Equality. I always confuse the two. I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. Dr. Darity probably be like, hey, that's a good thing, confusing my book with Dr. King's seminal work. Right?
You just throwing the alley oop. You know,
That's
where do
all.
we go from here? We go from here to
That's
equality.
Right. From here to equality. And maybe that's how my mind is just seeing it, right? Where do we go from here? From here to equality. So I wanna play this clip real quick, family, because we want people to hear Peace, Sister Iman. We want people to hear Shevin Fisher. We want people to hear from the socio-economists. We want people to hear from those who do this work. And I'm going to post some excerpts from that book, From Here to Equality, a little bit later when we deal with Black women's wealth. And I want to, people need to hear from the experts, right? Because it's let me just say this. It's a lot of talk. It's a lot of talk. And you have people who are prominent, that got money. It's people that have amassed millions of dollars. And they run with usual right-wing talking points. And the usual right-wing talking points, excuse me. And one of those right-wing talking points is knocking down reparations, you know. And they talk about Black people got money. Black people got money. It's like, okay, well, you're saying that, but can you prove that? Can you prove that Black people got money? See, what we do over here is just the facts. We dig into the articles, the studies, the books and books and books that I just got everywhere about this topic. Everywhere. So we want to hear from the leaders in this field. And if anybody believes that if they come across this video that they have information that can counter what these economists say, then please let's present it and see which one stacks up with the data and the statistics. So let's get into this. let's get into this real quick. Let's play this.
This has certainly been the longest sustained conversation about reparations that either of us can remember, starting with Marianne Williamson's January 2019 presidential election bid, when she dared to utter the R word. And sadly, because of all of the horrible things that have been happening, to the deaths of Black people, the unarmed Black people at the hands of police, that too has fueled this conversation. Then at the end of last summer, a civics poll revealed that just a little bit over 30% of white Americans and the majority of young white Americans supported a reparations initiative. The American people are learning more about the racial wealth gap. I don't think that, 10, 15 years ago, or even 3 years ago, that phrase was even in most people's parlance.
Black Americans who have ancestors who were enslaved in the United States constitute about 12% of the nation's population, but possess less than 2% of the nation's wealth. And so I guess the focal point for a reparations project from our standpoint is the emphasis or prioritizing elimination of the racial wealth gap. And so to bring the Black share of wealth into conformity with the Black share of the population would require an expenditure of somewhere in the vicinity of $11 trillion.
This is a national program. This is a program that is necessary because of the immoral decisions that our federal government has made over several hundred years. The culpable party is the federal government, and they should be made to pay as direct payments, direct cash payments. It is certainly possible to make those payments in something that's less liquid than cash. If it's a trust fund, an endowment fund, perhaps, and certainly one could stretch the payments over a period of years. We would advocate that no more than 10 years. We are hopeful that this is a time when conversation is the starter, but that action is absolutely attached to it, and that there will be some real traction.
Yeah, we think the phrase "just a check" should be replaced by "must be a check."
Cut all the checks.
So definitely, we had to play, Dr. Darity and A. Kirsten Mullins, so that people can understand this conversation from a professional point of view by those who are experts in this field. Family, don't let people just tell you Black people got money. And if they say that, make them show you without using anecdotes. Make them show you by using the aggregated data of Black wealth in the United States of America. And if they can't show you that, which they won't be able to, then tell them they just need to study a little bit more. As reparationists, we have to be staunch in that position. So, Brother Josh, did you have anything you wanted to say before I get into this article?
It's 2021 now. It's midway through 2021 almost. And I mean, we should not still be running around with the same tropes that and messed up talking points that a lot of us have already stomped on and debunked. We hear the same ones over and over. Oh, we got the Black folks got the same amount of buying power as some more the majority of the countries in the world. Like we got like the 9th or 10th or whatever it is highest GDP in the world. So if we were our own nation, we will be able to, not understanding we're not going to get into all of that. We just go look at some of our past programs. And we're not the only ones. There's a lot of people out here that's talking about that, dispelling it, right? I mean, you can just simply go to what we get wrong about closing the racial wealth gap, and or read From Here to Equality. Dr. Derrida, he goes through most of the information in there. It's time. It's past time to be running around with the myths and the talking points that people hold as an anti-reparationist. You know, it's past time. You should know by reading Mercer Baradaran's Color of Money book, and you learn about the program of Richard Nixon. We talk about this. We talked about this on the last broadcast. We talked about this on the broadcast before that. I guess we got to keep talking about it because people don't hear what you say; they hear what you keep saying, and get it in different ways. But we got to stop like repeating these ignorant talking points because they don't serve us. And we have to understand that the only way to close the racial wealth gap is reparations. Now, you may come up on something individually. You might hit the lottery, or your son might get drafted to the NBA. I don't know how many of y'all on this call got a situation like that. Or you might have bought in on Dogecoin. You know what I mean? When it was a fraction of a cent or something, and you might have bet your retirement on that. Who knows? I don't know, but I would just venture to say that's not the majority of us. That's not the majority of us. But you know what we all have in common? We all come from that background of being a freedman, and that's that background of that slavery and that Jim Crow, and that's caused generational disadvantage. And so generational disadvantage was done to us, specifically to us, at the hands of the federal government. So guess who got to pay? That's who got to pay. So
That's right.
I ain't gonna hit that too much harder, but we just gotta understand, man. It's not like reparations is the mainstream media is not talking about reparations no more. It ain't gonna happen. Well, we still headed to zero wealth, before 2053. You act like that's
right.
gonna change. That ain't gonna change. If it's gonna change, it's gonna be accelerated. It's gonna be accelerated. You know, I could go on this topic, but I'm gonna let you move to your next point.
All right, so let's bring up this article from out of the New York Times. This article is proof, one of several pieces of proof. Well, let me not say proof. Let me say a preponderance, right? A preponderance of the evidence that reparations can work and will work with the assistance of the federal government. Like you heard Sister A. Kirsten Mullen say in the video, they were the ones who allowed the atrocities. In many instances, they sanctioned them. That's what the book, Richard Rothstein's book, The Color of Wealth, is all about. That whole book is breaking down how the government segregated the United States of America and created redlining. And we showed on this program over the several streams how PPP loans were distributed among the same redlining lines that were drawn up all of those years ago. And today's form of redlining is political, is gerrymandering. Right? That's today's redlining, changing the political map so that usually the Republicans who are in power can maintain their power by spreading out the electorate among the whites and boxing all of the blacks into one particular zone, if you will, one or two zones. I mean, it's just what they're doing is just outright nefarious. But let's get into this article. Okay, New York Times. Let me put the link in the chat. Y'all know how I do, because I want everybody to. This link is kind of huge, so I hope it's able to fit in the chat. So hold on one second. We can get into this. Nope, they're not even letting me put this link in here because it's such a big link. I don't know why. Anyway, we'll read. Y'all see it on the screen.
You want me to find it?
Yeah, if you can. But this is their upshot article, so that may have something to do with it because it's from my email subscriptions. These are articles that come to my email from the New York Times. So that may be the reason why. I'm not necessarily sure. But y'all see what it says. It says small businesses have surged in Black communities. Was it the stimulus? New research finds a big rise in new businesses despite the pandemic, particularly in predominantly Black neighborhoods. So right off the rip, those of us who follow the numbers and the statistics and the data that knows without reparations, it's a wrap for us in the United States of America, save the handful of rich people. Because remember, I pulled up about a week ago a article that showed the richest families in every state of the union, and not one of them was Black. All this time we've been here, not one of them were Black. So those of us, we see this and say, oh, the federal government with infusions of cash, direct payments, whatever you want to call them, will help these Black neighborhoods because people will become business. People want to start businesses. They want to, corporations who rely on the retail work of Black women, and I'm going to get to that a little later, they don't want reparations to go to Black people because then they're going to lose their retail workers that they want to underpay. Anyway, let's get into this article. So this is a sister, Pilar Donnelly, who started making playhouses in Houston, right? And she went right on YouTube and learn how to make this stuff. And the next thing you know, she got a low business. So it says over the last year, multiple stimulus measures from the federal government have helped families buy groceries, pay rent, and build a financial cushion. This aid might have also helped start a new era of entrepreneurship. There's been a surge in startups in America that experts have yet to fully explain. But a new study using data that allows researchers to more precisely track new businesses across time and place finds that the surge coincides with federal stimulus and is strongest in Black communities. And they give you the business registrations in New York State, right? And it's, it costs to register in New York, and then you got to get the business license. New York is a monster, man. And it shows you the first stimulus check, right? There's this dip of business registrations because, as we've reported on this platform, only 5% of the first COVID act went to actual Black businesses. Only 5%, right? So, okay, so you did find it. Can you put that did you put that in the chat, Josh, the link?
I didn't put it in the YouTube.
All right, I got it. I got it. I'm going to put that link in the chat so that you all can follow along. Y'all know how we do. Y'all know how we do. Peace to everybody just joining in, man. Peace to Sister Satra. Peace, Black Seed, the child of life. So let's get back to this article. And it shows what happened with the second stimulus and then the third. There was this peak in business registration. So it says across a number of states, the pace of weekly business registrations more than doubled in the months after the CARES Act was signed in March 2020. Business registrations rose again by 60% around the period of the supplementary aid package signed in December, coinciding with the third wave of stimulus in March. Weekly business registrations have been up by 20%, but the data is less complete. So it's not a complete study, and they have links to the actual study. Brother Ali was actually, reading the study the other day. I meant to read the whole study. I just got caught up and didn't even think about it until just now, which happens. So It says the pandemic might mark the end of a slump in entrepreneurship that has lasted several decades. Several decades. Wow. Steep job losses, a widespread shift in how people work, and the big influx of federal spending could prompt the kind of disruption that changes how people think about work and what they want to do with their lives. Quote, the idea that the pandemic has kind of restarted America's startup engine is a real thing, said Scott Stern, an economist at MIT, and one of the authors of the research. Quote, sometimes you need to turn off the car in order to turn it back up, end quote. You know, I could get deeper into this article. I don't know, Josh, if you wanted to touch on anything, you know, but I wanted to bring this up because this idea that we don't need reparations because we can pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps, et cetera, is, I mean, it's just fallacious at the end of the day that Black people have money. There's a lot of people out there that I support that, you know, in the messages that they're saying, but when we start getting into this area of Black people got money, then that's when we got to step up. That's when we have to step up.
Let me just say something. I just want to hop in that right there. When people say we got money, I mean, and people want to act like, and people say like we got money, we can buy stuff, we can do this. Like what we always have to keep in context is compared to what? Compared to who? Based on what? Like you have to put it in the context of America. So that's why we always show the racial wealth and net worth by household comparison. We want to show the comparison not by income. See, there's large income disparity too. There's large employment disparity. All of these, but what we focus on is wealth, because wealth is accumulated and passed down through generations. I mean, a lot of people can get wealthy in their lifetime right now, but it's a large chunk of people that are wealthy because they inherited assets through generations. They inherited money, or they were given money via their parents who inherited wealth or who generated wealth, and that helped them to start businesses or to invest and to grow that wealth exponentially. So when we're talking about, well, we got money. Okay, we said that the middle Black family right now is worth about $1,400, and that was pre-pandemic estimations, right? We said that, you know, you go in different cities, like where I'm at, DC, middle Black family, and this is I think the color of the wealth is around 2016, 2017. I can't remember when they did this report, but this is, you know, DC area, which if you consider like PG County and the surrounding counties, this is a high income and was supposed to be one of the more affluent areas for Black folks. Middle family is worth $3,500. $3,500. Now you compare it. When I say compare it to what? Compare that to white folks, $384,000. Compare that to Indian Americans, who many of them are first generation in this country, first and second generation Indians, because a lot of them didn't start coming over here until, you know, the bulk of them recently, especially during the tech boom. 573,000. That's the middle Indian household. So compared to what? So when you're talking about, well, we got money. Okay, compared to look at our neighborhoods. We did a program several months ago when we were going through the richest Black neighborhoods. All right. And we showed that, like, the richest Black neighborhoods don't even come, they're not even in the top, nowhere close to the top 10 or top 100 white richest neighborhoods. You know, so compared to what? That's what we just got to get. When we got money, what it's not about what you got or what you think we got. It's about what the numbers say, and it's about what we're supposed to be having. We're supposed to be at an American standard. Stop Like when we say we live in they live in a nice black neighborhood. Well, we shouldn't be living in a nice neighborhood for black folks. We should be living in a nice, wealthy, affluent neighborhood, period, where the home values compared to our level of success is at the home values, the level of home values in the white neighborhood. It shouldn't be, man, we comparing the black middle class. No, it should be the American middle class. Because if you do Darity, he was a part of a study that was studying the black middle class, and pretty much I think it was, you can go look it up. It's something like the subaltern middle class or something like that. Well, he pretty much showed that people measure middle class by income because they thinking what I'm making at the job and I'm making a similar thing to what the white folks making. But you don't understand. You shouldn't measure middle class by income. You need to measure by wealth. Because see, when you lose your job, when you get laid off, the company sells, you don't have equity in it, and you don't have a big nest egg. You don't have a whole lot of assets and you don't have family members that can hold you down, because majority of freedmen family members, you might be doing all right, but your sister ain't doing all right, your brother ain't doing all right, your cousins, your parents are probably still struggling. They might still be at work, and they both might be 70 years old at working somewhere. So yeah, compared to what? Look, that's what we got to ask. But go ahead, brother.
Indeed. I want to pull up one more article before we move on to, and I've pulled this up before. It's a Vox article. It's about Stockton, California, right? So let's share this. It says, when a California city gave people a guaranteed income, they worked more, not less. Stockton's experiment shows what $500 per month in quote unquote free money can do for employment, mental health, and more. Now, in our situation, it's not free money. It's money that the United States of America owes us, that they never paid our ancestors, that is owed to us because they locked us out of the access to capital. They locked veterans, for instance, World War II veterans out of access to the GI Bill. Only a handful of blacks got those bills, and some of them couldn't even move in the neighborhoods that they wanted to move in because they were told, sorry, no blacks are allowed in this neighborhood. So you can't pass along generational wealth, which is usually passed along through property. I mean, all right, let's get into this. There was a quote in here that I wanted to pull up because I do not want to belabor these articles that we kind of went over already. But let me see if I can find this thing. Well, anyway, the people are giving their I should have had that highlighted already, but people gave testimonies of how their lives have been better based on, man, I can't find it. I'll just try to
Well,
give a sum of what. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
no, I was gonna say, if you hadn't gotten it, haven't pulled it up yet. You got to pull it up. You got it queued.
Well, no, it's all right. I mean, I'm just gonna give a little brief
Go
breakdown
ahead.
of what was said.
I was just trying to buy you a couple minutes.
No, it's all good. It's all good
All
because I don't want to stay on this particular point, but I wanted everybody to see that with an infusion of capital by the government, it's their job. They just passed the bill for Asian American and Pacific Islanders, which has money attached to it. That our lives will be made better. A lot of the crimes and all of the things that we see, in our neighborhoods wouldn't be, I don't believe. Because you don't hear the term high crime white neighborhood. It's just not a term that you're used to hearing. White on white crime. Where do you hear that at? I don't hear politicians saying that. So, you know, we wanted to stress that point. We wanted to stress that. So the next thing that we want to move into is, and make sure y'all hit that like button, fam. Make sure if y'all haven't subscribed to the channel, y'all have subscribed. Make sure y'all hit that little bell icon next to the subscribe button so you can become a part of the notification nation. Peace to everybody that's joined Mars TV, Ali, Dawu, El, Mine, right? The Black Collective channel. Peace to everybody that's just joining us. So I want to get into this thing, right? Because Black men are the most incarcerated group of people in the United States of America. We are incarcerated at such high rates in the United States of America, the carceral state is what it's been called, that there are more Black men in prison in the United States of America than women are in prison all over the world combined. All over the world combined. And jail, privatized prisons, et cetera, has become a very big business. Peace, Sister Riri, I see you in the building. Jail has become a very, very big business. So let's pull this article up. We're not going to read through the whole thing, but this is from a website, Prison Policy Initiative, regulating the prison phone industry. And I like how they start the article off. Some children have to pay almost $1 a minute to talk to an incarcerated parent. Why? Because prisons and jails profit by granting monopoly telephone contracts to the company that will charge the families the most. And this whole article goes on to speak about the exorbitant prices that prisons charge people who are locked up. Now, think, family. We are a wealthless group in the United States of America. A wealthless group. Because people that got money don't have to sell drugs, poison to their own people in their neighborhoods. They just don't. They build businesses because they have access to capital. People that don't have money, which has been the experience for many Black men and women for that matter, they have to sell drugs. Some people say, well, they don't have to. Okay, well, if you want to come up here and have that debate, please. Please. How does the drugs get in America in the first place? Y'all know the story of Rick Ross, of how the CIA was bringing the drugs in. What Malcolm said, we don't own no boats. We don't grow cocoa leaf or coca leaf, or whatever the name of the leaf is. We don't grow poppy plants, poppy flowers. We don't grow any of that stuff. It's being brought into the United States of America. And as great as this country is as stopping Black people from doing crimes and locking us up, they can't seem to stop the flow of illegal drugs coming into the country. Interesting.
Or illegal aliens.
Yeah, right? Or illegal aliens, at least when the Democrats are in charge. So, recognizing yet another way that mass incarceration punishes entire communities, the Prison Policy Initiative joined with partners across the country to help generate the research and advocacy that was necessary for change. And it says that they won victories at the FCC. Lower, like, what was the FCC doing? Letting these prices be at the rates that they were from the get-go. What were they doing? And it says in halting industry consolidation. Yeah, okay, well, we're going to break this monopoly up, but some other rich billionaire is going to come in and he is going to profit off of this prison phone thing. We're going to get to that as well, right? It says we're pushing for we're keeping this industry and the perverse incentives it offers the sheriffs and the news. This page provides an overview of our research. So it shows a map here with different colors, state of phone justice, the biggest priorities for prison and jail phone justice. And it gives a breakdown. The red are state prisons that charge $3 or more for a 15-minute in-state phone call. $3 or more. The bluish green, I guess that's green, shows jails that charge $12 or more for a 15-minute in-state phone call. Now, this money is coming from a wealthless group. And if the men are in jail, who's footing this bill? Black women, right? Women in general, but we're speaking about us because we're the ones who disproportionately get arrested and do jail time. The orange represents rates that charge $6 or more. The blue is calls from county jails are far more expensive than calls from the state prison. So if you're in the county and you're in Maryland, what is that? Virginia, Delaware, South Carolina, Mississippi, and New Hampshire, then the calls from the county jail are way more than the state prison. The purple shows jails that typically charge far more for the first minute of in-state calls than additional minutes. So they'll do something like for the first minute, this call will be $5, and then it'll be $3 each additional minute. Now I just made that number up, so I don't want nobody to be like, no, that's not true. It's made it up. The white shows none of these problems currently exist, but more work can surely be done. Georgia, New Mexico, Ohio, New Jersey, Vermont, and Maine. Okay. And it gets deeper into the system that is really destroying our people. Let me see what some people say. My brother Selby Bay said they are making a killing off these calls. The phone systems cost roughly 25 cents a minute in the federal system for inmates to make a 15-minute phone call. Yeah. Like, see, what we have to do is point out why there is a dysfunction. And this dysfunction is manufactured by the powers that be, by white supremacy. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's just the truth. It's just the truth. How do you allow companies to come into the prison and charge people that committed crimes, usually because they grew up in an impoverished state, to then get overcharged for phone calls because they want to speak to their family and their children? Because penitentiary, if my memory serves me correctly, the word penitentiary grew out of the word penance. If my memory serves me correctly, it was a place you went to get penance from. Am I saying that right? Penance? I think I'm saying that right. This was the early origins of prisons that go all the way back to the Quakers in the United States of America. And yet we see this issue around high phone rates in the prison. This is a problem for the largest group of people, black men who are incarcerated. I'm going to pull up another article. Josh, did you want to speak to that?
No, bro, go ahead.
All right. So let's pull up this other article. It coincides with that first article. Remember, they spoke about the sheriffs. Okay, same website. Jail phone companies flood money into sheriff races. New research shows jail phone companies contributing significant sums to sheriff's campaigns, in one case, funding a quarter of sheriff's campaign spending. Now we got some new homework to do, family. Now we have new homework to do. Who's funding? Because a sheriff is an elected position. You have to run to be elected sheriff. That's a political office. Who's funding these campaigns? Something for us to start looking at. Because if one of these companies are funding a sheriff's campaign, that sheriff isn't about quelling crime or fighting crime. That sheriff is about putting as many black bodies in jail as possible. And if that's the case, these people got to go in front of the judges. And in many instances, these judgeships are elective, then that also means that these people are probably funding some of these judges' campaigns as well. Something for us to look into. So it speaks about counties getting kickbacks from phone companies in return for granting monopoly contracts. The United States of America has antitrust laws, family. This is why the Be the Power platform is so important. And these videos are going to age very well in time. These videos will age very well because we're giving the family reference points. Counties are getting kickbacks from phone companies. They're killing them. They are killing them. Look, as we highlighted 2 years ago, Securus, this is one of these phone companies, was donating $10,000 a year to the Sacramento County Sheriff, even though it did not have a contract. This company didn't even have a contract. I mean, killing them. And, you know, they run through a whole bunch of numbers. And it says, notably, Sheriff Ahern runs the 14th largest jail system in the country. So they're talking about the sheriff from, where's this guy from? Where's this guy from? Alameda County Sheriff. So Alameda County, is that in Los Angeles? Sacramento? I don't know. I think that may be in Los Angeles or Sacramento. Okay, so it says, notably, Sheriff Ahern runs the 14th largest jail system in the country. Just one of his facilities is larger than the entire state prison system of 8 states. One of his facilities is larger than the entire state prison system of 8 states. I should have looked deeper into this particular county and their prisons and all of that stuff. That's on me. I should have dug that stuff up. It says he used his substantial influence to organize and lead jail administrators to fight against jail phone regulation. They fought against the regulation. No, keep the prices high. Keep the prices high. We don't want them to fix the prices and have the prices go down because people want to talk to their family. And these are black men in jail, largely, which leaves black women where? At home with the children because the guy did something, the brother did something. And it all goes back to the same, self-accountability, sure. We can talk about that, and that's a fact. Do the crime, do the time. But what caused the condition for the crime to be committed in the first place? There's a backstory that nobody seems to want to get into. And see, we're not having that over here. And you would never be able to win that argument, ever, 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 ever. So, it's showing, the different jail companies and the different phone companies and their contributions to these people. And, it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous when you look at it. Let me pull one more up because we need to know what's going on because, shout out to that brother Kwame Brown. That brother is exposing some things and that's going on with the NBA and people like Stephen A. Smith and the other chatty patties, et cetera, et cetera. But here's something that I don't hear nobody talking about. Here's something that I don't hear nobody. The NBA's quiet problem with prison exploitation. They called it a quiet problem. Tom Gores, owner of the Detroit Pistons, also owns notoriously abusive prison, telecom, and banking giant Inventive. Let me put this link in the chat. I forgot to put the last one in there. Y'all know how we do. We come with the references. We don't just talk and give our opinions on things. We come with the references and make sure that you can follow along. So let's get into this. Okay, the NBA has put itself at the vanguard of the movement for racial justice in America. The article starts out by pointing out the hypocritical stance of the NBA. Excellent. The court at the Disney World bubble is emblazoned with the words Black Lives Matter. Oh, wow. And players have insisted that the league live up to those words. The players have insisted this. Last week's 3-day playoff strike after the shooting of Jacob Blake led to an agreement on the establishment of a social justice coalition, yada, 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 yada. But it's this line right here. At the same time, however, there has been an uncharacteristic silence about how one of the league's owners is responsible for systemic abuses against people of color. Because, you got different types of, boys clubs. And the Billionaires Boys Club, they play on a different platform. And they usually control how people think from the right and the left. And like we said on our stream Monday night, the beautiful thing about us and why we are not as popular is because we don't stand on those people's platforms. For we are not Democrat or Republican, conservative or liberal, not left nor right. We are a policy-centered group of reparationists, descendants of the freedmen right here in America, the formerly enslaved. We know the brutal atrocities that have happened to our people and the systemic atrocities that are happening now, which is why we are pointing some of them out here tonight. It continues. Tom Gores, the billionaire owner of the Detroit Pistons, is the founder of a private equity firm, Platinum Equity, with $23 billion under management and 40 portfolio companies. So this guy got bread. The portfolio includes Inventive, one of the largest prison telecommunications and money transfer companies in the United States. Inventive's business model gouges prisoners and their families who are disproportionately Black and Latino and typically inescapably poor. Yet, the National Basketball Players Association has never spoken out about this franchise owner and his role in capitalizing on mass incarceration.
That's right.
Ooh. Some know about Inventive through the name of one of its affiliates, Securus Technologies, which we just read about in the last article, and its duopoly in the prison phone market. Securus serves 1.2 million inmates in North America. The other giant in this space, Global Tail-Link, I'm more familiar with that one from the people that I know that have been locked up over the years, is serves 1.8 million. Prices, listen, family, prices for a Securus phone call in a local jail ranged as high as $24.82 for 15 minutes in Arkansas as recently as last February. Securus claims they have reduced the top rate to $13.65 for 15 minutes. Wow, that's even better. Thank you, Securus. Thank you. With an average of $3.57. Keeping in touch with loved ones can set poor people back hundreds of dollars. Ain't no money in the Black community, family. I don't know what people talk. The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. Keeping in touch with loved ones can set Black poor people hundreds of dollars back. Lack of affordability can lead to inmates being cut off from the outside world, heightening loneliness, spurring alienation, and breeding recidivism. You know, recidivism means you just keep going back to jail. How Nas said it is like a cycle. Some will come out, some will go in, do a bullet, come home, and do the same again. Like, well, okay, well, here's one of the reasons why. Here's one of the reasons why. In New York, I don't know if they call it this in other jail systems. They call it the Bing. So they put people in the Bing, which is equivalent to saying the hole or solitary confinement, isolation. And the term Bing, as explained by one psychologist during the Keith Browder series, Khalif Browder, the brother that was locked up on Rikers Island for 3 years for some book bag that he claimed he didn't even steal. And even if he did, it was a book bag. They kept him on Rikers, which is almost like the county jail in your state. For 3 years, they kept him there. So he broke down where this term Bing comes from, where they keep prisoners in there for so long that their mind just goes bing, bing, bing. And that's where the term the Bing comes from. I was blown away when I learned that. Been hearing that word my whole life. So let me see. It's nothing else I really need to read here, but I wanted to show, and Brother Josh, give a breakdown if you like on this so far with the prison systems and everything that we see going on with this telephone prison draining poor people system.
Yeah. See, man, it's so key how you talked about the securists and Tom Gore's owning or having that part of his portfolio. Like that's not even like the totality of his portfolio. But there's never been a voice to speak out, just saying, just divest, Actually, I don't want to say it hasn't been one. I haven't heard one, but he can divest from that. Well, he can divest from the NBA. But I think that's going to be a Pandora's box, because if we start making being able to be the employer or main person that's paying Black folks, and we try to make the measuring stick not exploiting Black folks at the same time, there's a whole lot of people that's gonna have to get out of business. We just talking about one, and that's the NBA, and one of the owners of the NBA having a business and a part of his wealth portfolio, one company that is highly exploitative of our hyper incarceration. So I just, it needs to be more of those people that are exposed, that are put out there. And maybe they're not the person that owns the hedge fund or owns a portfolio that has a large investment in that. Maybe they just own like a significant stake in it. Maybe they own the board of some of these companies. A lot of these people are not named, man. A lot of these people are not named. But this stuff has to come to an end. Like all of this stuff we're talking about, it has to come to an end. We haven't even talked about the cash bail system. Which if you think about when somebody gets locked up, who are they calling? Usually they're gonna call their mama, right?
That's right.
Or their auntie or something like that. They girl to get some money. And that situation's messed up. You taking a people, we already said the middle Black family is worth $1,400. Well, how much does it cost to bail somebody out of jail? Like, most of the time they taking money that they really don't even have to do that. And I remember reading in The Devil You May Know, what is it? Excuse me, The Devil You Know's book by Charles Blow, and he broke the numbers down just in that industry, and it was just like he just talked about New York City, giving an example of like the destination cities and how that's the police are highly criminalizing and the rest putting us in jail like crazy by profiling and all of that, and how the money that's generated, the industries that's generated just in New York City on bail. You know, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
go ahead though.
Yeah, man. So we want to get into the third leg of this discussion. We want to get into the third leg of this discussion, the wealth of Black women. And it was important that we start off with reparations. It's very, very important that we start off with reparations. And then speak about one of the systemic tentacles that wraps up Black male bodies like a boa constrictor wrapping up a rabbit or some animal and squeezing the life out of it and then swallowing it whole. That is the systemic racism baked into America. So I want to talk about, let me see, where do I want to go with this first? Man, I had this other, you know what? Let's pull this up real quick. This is in line with, I'm going to run through this real quick. This is in line with the phones, and this is the commissary system. Okay, here we go. This is from the same website, Prison Policy Initiative. Let me put this link in the chat as well. Let's see. Let's get into this. The Company Store, a deeper look at prison commissaries. And, you know, it's talking about it being an essential but unexamined part of prison life. And at the core of this retail market, this is what they call it. This is what it says: serving as the core of the prison retail market, commissaries, prison. So phones they killing them with the phone companies. But no, that's not the core of the prison retail market. No. Commissaries, it says, present yet another opportunity for prisons to shift the costs of incarceration to incarcerated people and their families, often enriching private companies in the process. In some contexts, the financial exploitation of incarcerated people is obvious, evidenced by the outrageous prices charged for simple services like phone calls and email. We just covered the phone calls. I didn't get into the email part. When it comes to prison commissaries, however, the prices themselves are not the problem so much as forcing incarcerated people and by extension their families to pay for basic necessities. So let me see if I could find the numbers. Okay. How much do incarcerated people spend? You go to jail committing the crime because you're poor. These crimes are being committed largely out of poverty, period. They are all money related. It says in Illinois and Massachusetts, incarcerated people spent an average of over $1,000 per person at the commissary during the course of a year. Annual capital sales in Washington were half as much. Let's look at these numbers. Look at this number right here. Illinois, annual commissary sales, $48 million. Massachusetts, $11 million. Washington, $8 million. Whoa, what the hell? What the hell is going on here? They're killing them. per person commissary sales for 3 sample states amounted to $947, well over the typical amount incarcerated people earn working regular prison jobs in these states. $180 to $660 per year. Another reason why a lot of people push back on trying to stop privatization of prisons. These people are making money. 13th Amendment, slavery. This is convict leasing in 2021. You're paying convicts, let's take the high number, $660 per year. Somebody divide that by 52 weeks, please. And see what that comes up to. The per person sales were also higher than the previous survey had suggested. In 2016, we estimated that prison and jail commissary sales amounted to $1.6 billion per year nationwide, based in part from the data. And they just, this is business. It's business to keep you incarcerated, for the judge to sentence you for your drug problem, but give the white boy a program. The meth head, he can get, or they can get programs. I had a judge out here in the city where I live speak on that, about how other judges have ruled when it came to black and white people. I mean, look, family, we know what time it is. We know what time it is. And we do these streams so that we can put an accumulation of, or I guess we could say an accumulation of records in the form of these streams, so that we could give commentary on them, so that we can push our political agenda as reparationists, period. They're killing them. They're making money off the poor. This is slavery all over again. Making money off of people who ain't got nothing. Always. So I wanted to run through the commissary part. And then I want to get to, let me see. Let's go to Dr. Darity and A. Kirsten Mullins' book. All right, why does this thing keep doing this? Let's go to Dr. Darity and A. Kirsten Mullins' book, From Here to Equality. I don't have the page number. I have these screenshots. I got these from Josh. Josh was the first one that started reading the book last year. So he had posted these in the inbox, and I since have stored them. But I've read the book. I have hardcover copies of the book. We've absorbed a lot of the information from this book, From Here to Equality. If you're new to the channel, this is a must-have book, From Here to Equality, Reparations for Black Americans in the 21st Century. If you want to understand the subject and not talk your opinions about reparations, those who are anti-reparationists, get this book, family. Just get this book. So let's get into this thing. They write, nor do differences in family structure provide headway in explaining black-white inequality. Single white women with children have as high a median net worth as black women with no children. Single white parents have more than 2 times the wealth, $35,000 at the median, of married black parents, $16,000. Look at that disparity, family. A single white parent at the median, the middle, is worth $35,000 by themselves. At the median, and we're dealing with the law of averages here, because you know some people that got money and they look at this reparations thing from the scope of their rose-colored glasses. right? No, we all see red because I see red or rose color. Anyway, married black parents, both combined, are only worth $16,000. The professed economic benefits associated with having the quote unquote ideal family type do not translate into closure of the racial wealth gap. There was a report put out a few years back that showed that it would take Black Americans 228 years on income alone, to catch up to white wealth. 228 years. What do you think they're going to be doing? Nothing? No. They're going to keep getting richer and richer. It says, being a stable, married, two-parent Black family far from evens Black and white wealth. Let me read from this second page. Being a two-parent family, you know, I watch the content of certain people like Kevin Samuels, and I see some of the breakdowns that he give about, you know, what he calls the unrealistic goals of many women, talking about they want a man that earns six figures, and he gives the percentage of men that earn that much, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, you get women that basically say, well, I'll be by myself then. Well, the numbers are not in your favor. We got to work together. And even when we're not working together, the economists are showing us what the numbers look like on average. It says, they continue, furthermore, there are vast differences in wealth between Black and white women. For example, older, over 60 years of age, single Black women with a bachelor's degree have a median net worth of about $11,000. Single Black women with a bachelor's degree have a median net worth of about $11,000, while single white women with a college degree in the same age range have $384,000 in median net worth. Compare $384,000 to $11,000. Compare Black women. We got to be realistic. We got to be realistic. We need each other. And that's why the fight is going on right now.
Yeah. Oh Lord, man, you didn't brought out Kevin Samuels, man. People was rocking with you. It was rocking with you till
we don't
till you
touch
brought
on
out
that stuff on the platform, but I wanted to bring it up because, like, this is.
No, I was joking.
No, but it's all good. Yeah. No. I feel you. On our platform, we try to stick to the issues. Those are topics that I wouldn't mind talking about, to be honest with you, probably on somebody else's platform or on our other channel. When we doing this, we try to stick to this, right? But I don't mind bringing up Kevin Samuels or Kwame Brown and you know, people that are speaking to things that I agree with based on the numbers. We have the numbers right here in front of us. Let me finish reading this, though, because this is deep. It says single mothers have negligible wealth, but the racial difference still is palpable. Hear me, family, white single mothers have a median net worth. Don't hear me necessarily. Hear the authors, these economists. White single mothers have a median net worth of $3,000, but Black single mothers have a median net worth of $0. $0. $0.
What does that mean? What does that mean? That means if you're a mother, your family is a high risk of being destitute, homeless, you know, hungry. You know, if you're trying to put your kid in some type of, you know, something extra, I mean, you really don't have any type of thing set aside for a rainy day. You know, you highly in debt. You buying a whole lot of stuff with credit cards. That's what that means. That is just a rough life. That's a rough life. And we have to think, like, what causes such a disparity, and how do we fix that?
That's right.
What do you think? What do you think, Brother Naheem?
Well, we know that it goes all the way back to Reconstruction time. Once the freedmen left the cruel conditions of slavery, they were met with crueler conditions. Remember in that series on Amazon, Them? And they said, obviously, it was the white women sitting around and they were talking in the room. And the white lady said, one of them said, obviously, they fled from something worse. We have to make it worse. And then the other white lady said, well, what's worse than worse? And her mind went to thinking of some things. Well, that's what they did. They said, okay, slavery, well, you were owned by a man or a family. Now the whole system of white supremacy is going to own you now that you're free. We just broke down the numbers of just Commissary, the core of
That's called going from private bondage to public subjugation.
private bondage to public subjugation. Period. It's just as simple as that. So let's give some more numbers. Let's get into some more statistics on Black women, right? And the reason why we're placing emphasis on Black women is because this prison industrial complex that created the conditions. If somebody disagrees, we invite you to the platform. Come to the platform. And just to say that it's just all of our fault and we had the same choices as everybody else. No, we don't, because everybody's not going to just be 6'2", 230 pounds and can bust through a line of 300 pounders with a football in their hands. No, and they shouldn't have to, because that's not how white wealth was built. It's not how, because you get a lot of people into sports that look at our people and forget the fact that they have a unique skill that many others don't possess. Even in that, one out of how many even make it to the big leagues where they actually make money. So let's get into some more. Let us get into some more. We got to get into some more. This is from a paper that was published this year. Some of these papers are dated, but the numbers are still relevant. And based on how we monitor these things, it's not like they're getting better, the numbers. Okay, so this is from the National Partnership for Women and Families. It's a fact sheet. Conversations around the wage gap tend to over-focus on the numbers while ignoring the causes. Over-focus on the numbers while ignoring the causes. That's all we did tonight. We focused on the numbers and we focused on the causes. Simple as that. We didn't go into great detail, but the causes were brought up. But these numbers are more than facts and figures. They represent the tangible consequences of sexism and white supremacy in the United States and how our country systematically devalues women of color in their labor. I don't like that woman of color label. But let's see. While racism and sexism are often thought of as individual bias, history shows us that systemic discrimination in pay and exploitation of workers based on race, class, gender, and immigration status can be traced all the way back to this country's horrific past of enslaving Africans. And that's true, right? Africans and their descendants. That is true. That's one thing I can say, that the model that this country uses, and let me put this link in the chat as well. I see people saying they can't get with the numbers. Get the book, Dr. Sandy Darrity's book, From Here to Equality. Do your own research. I just put a link in the chat that can give you a better understanding of how these numbers even get to this state in the first place. It says, today this means that Black women in the United States who work full-time year-round are typically paid just 63 cents for every whole dollar paid to white non-Hispanic men. The wages of Black women are driven down by a number of current factors, including gender and racial discrimination, workplace harassment, job segregation, and a lack of workplace policies that support family caregiving. Don't get pregnant while you're working. You don't do that. You might be asked out, which is still most often performed by women. Overall, women employed full-time year-round are typically paid 82 cents for every dollar paid to men. This is when you add white women and Spanish women and Asian women, et cetera, right? But when you disaggregate, Black women get only 63 cents. Remember, these are the people that got to pay for the phone calls that have these exorbitant prices from the prison system and the commissary. They got to put the money on the books of the brothers they taken from the little bit that they have. We just ran down some numbers that showed even with degrees, even when it's a Black man and his Black wife, they could get out of here with that Black birthing stuff that they let me not go there. Let me see. In the 25 states, including the District of Columbia, with the largest numbers of Black women working full-time year-round, pay for Black women ranges from 48 to 68 cents for every dollar paid to white non-Hispanic men. 48 cents to 68 cents. Of these 25 states, the District of Columbia and Mississippi have the largest share of Black women working full-time year-round as a percentage of their state's overall full-time workforce. Black women in the District of Columbia are paid 49 cents. 49 cents. And Black women in Mississippi are paid 57 cents. That shocked me when I read it earlier. I would have thought in DC, they would have been getting paid the 57 cents. In Mississippi, they would be getting paid the 49, both extremely, extremely low. To every dollar paid to white non-Hispanic men, Black women face the largest overall cents on the dollar wage gaps in Louisiana, just 48 cents for every dollar paid to white non-Hispanic men, right? And they just giving breakdown after breakdown after breakdown. Black women in Texas paid 58 cents for every dollar paid to white men, and Black women in Georgia paid 59 cents. Damn. Among these 25 states, Maryland, Missouri, Kentucky, and Tennessee have the smallest cents on the dollar wage gaps, but Black women in those states still face substantial disparities. On average, Black women are paid just 68 cents in Maryland and 67 cents in Missouri, Kentucky. Like, this is nothing. But remember, prison, rent, utilities, food. Now you got to get on welfare, like, because your wages are not enough.
Student loans.
Don't try to get better yourself. Oh, don't do that. You're messed up. I told the story before. I'm not gonna belabor it, but the brother at my job, his wife had 3 degrees. He graduated with a degree as an economist. He said his wife never made more than $44,000 a year. 3 degrees, bachelor's in this, master's in something else. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, that's impossible. It seems impossible. Seems impossible. Eliminating the wage gap would provide much needed income to Black women whose wages sustain their households. First and foremost, they're not going to do it. The Republicans fight against just raising the minimum wage to $15 when really the minimum wage should be $20 or $21 because that is considered a living wage in this country. In this country. It says almost 80% of Black mothers are key breadwinners for their families, which means their households rely heavily on their wages to make ends meet and get ahead. Remember, Biden locked up all of our men back in the days, starting in 94. Like, this was a domino effect of the destruction of the black male in the United States of America. It's like if everything else fell and Joe Biden said, hold my beer. Hold my beer. I got this. 4 million family households in the United States are headed by black women, and nearly 1 in 4 of those households live below the poverty level. This means that more than 900,000 family households headed by black women live in poverty, demonstrating the imperative to eliminate the wage gap. I'm sorry, paper writers. No, we can't just eliminate the wage gap. We have to eliminate the black-white wealth gap, period. That's how you do it. Because if you eliminate the wage gap, how many years is it going to take for, let's just stick to black women, is it going to take for them to just get their heads above water? How many years would that take? Would love to see a hypothetical projection on how long that would take. And this is the last part of this. The public overwhelmingly supports fair pay policies. Black women experience workplace harassment, discrimination at high rates. In a recent survey conducted by Time's Up is the name of this group. I'm guessing that's an acronym. Over half of black women surveyed, 55%, reported experiencing gender or racial obstacles to opportunity in the workplace. Black women want Congress to act. In a survey of 2020 voters, more than 9 in 10, 91% black women surveyed feel strongly that Congress should pass paid family and medical leave, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This paper, very well, these are the resources and the sources and the references to the paper. I put the link in the chat, but I want to put the link in the chat again, just in case you're just joining us. Remember what the Democrats was out there pushing, the gender divide, the gender war between black men and black women. And they had people like Tamika Mallory out there talking about black women are going to carry this election. I debated with these people. I debated with Mike Son, her underling, because he was talking about black men don't protect black women. So they were starting this thing early. And I went on his thread and challenged him. And he thought that he was going to bring me on like he bring on a bunch of other people that kind of don't know what they're talking about or really don't know how to debate. I roasted him up real good. Roasted him. The only thing he could do is keep cutting me off. Keep cutting me off because he knew. Didn't even understand half the words I was saying. They was trying to make fun of words I was using that they didn't even know the meanings to. And they're back at it. Tamika Mallory has a Cadillac commercial after Samaria Rice called her out. After Samaria Rice called her out, talking about black women. And it's all black women in the commercial, if my memory serves me correctly. What's going on here? They voted, we all did, for the Democrat, but they placed emphasis on the black women. I just read a report that shows that their wages are some of the lowest in the country, if not the lowest. That they experience workplace discrimination, whether it's because they're black or because they're female, at higher rates than other groups. Where's the policy coming from this Democratic administration? Family, we are going to start this campaign. Don't vote blue in 2022. And we're going to come up with policy prescriptions via proposals. Be on the lookout for those. Be at the rally June 18th in Atlanta, Georgia, at the state capitol, Liberty Plaza, starting at 11 a.m. We're going to get this thing sparked off, family. We ain't playing no more. We are different. We don't got a bunch of live viewers and all of that stuff, and that's good. But when it's all said and done, they're going to know who we are, period. So, let's Let's get this thing moving. And somebody said, there goes the meddler. I don't know if this person is calling me the meddler, but if you are, thank you. thank you. I am meddling. If you're talking to me, I don't know. I'm definitely meddling. I'm meddling in this grip that the Democrats have on our people and the neglect that the Republicans have on our people. So yeah, I'm definitely meddling. I'm a serial meddler, you know. So brother Josh, what's going on? What's going on?
Man, look, I mean, it's crazy to think that there's not a widespread demand for some type of reciprocity, right? When you want to talk about the rate that we came out and voted and put these people in office, there was we turned red states blue. You know, we just and this is despite them telling you you're not black if you vote for me, and stalling on reparations and all this kind of stuff, and now we see on day one you see LGBT executive orders, and that's one group that's largely pushed by white men, right?
That's right.
Then you see you see the Stop Asian Hate bill
Right.
that specifically mentions them in there, and then you still get nothing for our group. You still get nothing. And how is that, man? Like, we want to talk about, just think about the fact that the bulk of the people that will be AAPI came way after the Immigration Act of 1965. So, many just came in the 90s and 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And they didn't even really, and with this bill is not even something it's not long overdue from any period like that. We talking about just 2020, something that was an increased experience in 2020. So that's not even that's not even like talking about something that, oh man, we finally got to give them something. No, this is just something that just popped up last year and allegedly. And what we're talking about is, yeah, our numbers went up. Our numbers are, if you take the amount of hate crimes that was committed against us, and I think this is 2019 with the data that I saw. It was, if you add all of those up, it's like 48%. It's more hate crimes almost that happened committed against us than everybody else combined, including Asians, including white folks, including the so-called Latinos and all of them. So how is it that we still don't have no
what
bill?
They say receipts? we got the receipts right here. Number of race-based hate crime incidents in the United States in 2019, 1,930.
Yeah.
We could surmise that that's a consistent number.
Yeah. And this is not broken down by gender, but a lot of those, we have to understand, being the women the majority of the population, a lot of those crimes are committed against black women. So you get to be terrorized at the same. You get to be terrorized at a highly disproportionate rate for racial hate crimes, right? But you get to be wage discriminated against. You get to have huge wealth disparities along racial lines. All of these different things, but everybody else, and despite you showing up at huge numbers and voting at the highest percentage clip of any other women racial group or ethnic group, you still get to get zero in terms of policy. You
That's
get
right.
now private industry gets to, they might throw you a bone here and there, but with the government, the elected officials that you put in office, they can't come together after you done gave them the power. You were the difference maker. They can't come together and give you anything, but they can give everybody else anything. See, it should be an outrage. It shouldn't be. This is outrageous. It shouldn't be to where, well, we just gonna be quiet. We just gonna keep going. Yeah, we got Kamala in there. You know, we got a sister now. So
Sister girl.
who's sister?
Yeah, whose sister? The red dot Hindus? Because she
Hmm.
ain't no sister of mine. That's Kamala. I mean, yeah,
Kamala.
Kamala.
Oh no, yeah, it's
That's
Kamala. Yes,
Kamala.
right, Kamala. Yeah.
Kamala, not Kamala. You know, we try to hoodify her name because we from the hood, and she looks almost like one of us, like she could be like somebody light skinned auntie, right? So we think she is sister girl. No, you Indian home girl. You definitely ain't one of us. And that's what they did to us. They did the
Hey,
same thing with Barack Obama.
hey,
Rocked us to sleep.
the only Kamala I follow is from Uganda.
The Ugandan giant. And he really was from what, Mississippi or
Yeah, it's from Mississippi.
Tennessee? That's the only Kamala I ever follow. The Ugandan giant.
Hey, you know his name was Harris. Last name was Harris too.
Oh, word? No, I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah.
My man wasn't even from Uganda, you know? So, yeah, man. So,
Oh man,
you know,
yeah. This it's wild. You know, I mean,
Corey says
and
he's an Indo-Caribbean.
yeah. I mean, she is who she is. I mean,
Mhm.
it is what it is. But my thing is, you don't. We can't look at that as anything. Like that's not compensation. That's no kind of that's not even symbolism for us. Like it's if you believe in it that it is, then you probably are like in solidarity with some type of feminist ideology, which is another branch of white supremacy. You know, it's like a affiliate of white supremacy. So we got to check that.
That's right. That's right. So, you know, we laid it out tonight, fam. We wanted to paint a picture, starting with reparation. You know, I wanted to speak to, because, you know, I watch a lot of YouTube and videos, et cetera, and I see some of what people say. And, you know, I ask myself, do they know the wealth data? Do they understand why a push for reparations, you know, why we interviewed Judge Joe Brown on the platform, and he was going against reparations, and the bros was quickly in the chat like, yo, Abba, Naheem, chill, do not respond, just let him go. I was sitting there sweating under the collar like, what? Ugh. I was like, all right, we got to get through this part. we got to get through this part. We gotta get through this part, man, because they don't understand. And some people, and I did he say no? I ain't reading no books. And I think he said that. Like I ain't reading nothing. Well, then you won't have a understanding, and your net worth of $10 million blinds you from the facts of people's everyday reality. And we, you know, I'm everything else I was basically riding with what he said. But when people speak against reparations and you're looking at a wealthless group that don't have no money, black folk don't have no money. They don't have no money, not collectively. And I mean, all we do is the data and the statistics. That excerpt we pulled from Darity and Mullins's book on just the wealth of black women alone, even married, we still don't have enough. Even married. So, you know, it's indicative. Oh man, I forgot I had this picture. I just seen it. Let me pull this up. I forgot I had this picture. The Democrats handing a present called the American Dream over to a Mexican kid with the Mexican flag on his shirt, while the black kid has the American flag on his shirt, and the Democratic donkey with the screw face is saying, forget about it, kid. That's what they're saying with reparations. That's what they're saying with reparations. They're saying that they're going to do everything for, let me see if I can find this article, man. There we go. They're going to do everything for everybody else. And when it comes to us, forget it, kid. forget it, kid. Forget it. That picture captures this article right here perfectly. Democrats debate timing and wisdom of reparations vote. Y'all know we've read this on the platform since it was published last month. And in it, it talks about how Democrats, the leadership is running around saying, we got to stop this reparations talk, else we're going to lose in 2022. We're going to lose the midterms. If we have anything to do with it, y'all going to lose the midterms. Y'all want Marjorie Taylor Greene to be the lead? Okay. That kooky chick? Sure. Okay. Yo, y'all don't want to do nothing for us? Don't vote blue in 2022. Y'all want to, because when will it be popular? During the presidential election? No. They're just going to say, no, don't talk about reparations. Remember, and we stressed this before, when John Conyers first introduced H.R. 40, that wasn't the number then. It was changed to H.R. 40. In 1989, that's what he was told. Hey, after they voted to give Japanese Americans reparations the year prior, in 1988, look up the Civil Liberties Act. For those of you who do not know, a year later, Conyers introduces a bill just to study African American reparations. Not even a reparations proposal, just to study it. No, don't do that. It's going to hurt our election chances. Barack Obama, hey, man, don't talk about reparations. If they bring up reparations, you got to keep shooting that down. Go read Ta-Nehisi Coates's interview with Barack Obama in The Atlantic. Pull up Barack Obama's interview with Bruce Springsteen on that podcast they did a couple months ago, repeating the same thing. This dude Obama said white folks are getting mad if we give black people reparations. But yet y'all just gave Indian tribes, Native Americans, billions of dollars because they suffered from COVID. Not that we were the people that suffered the worst. Come on, family. When do we wake up?
Not only that,
man?
remember we talked about New York's, the state of New York, I think it was, gave, was it the state of New York or the city? I can't remember. I think it was the state. Gave illegal aliens, what was the total number? They gave them a huge amount of money. And it ended up being like a big check. Like, was it like 40 grand or 70 grand? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember how much it was, but it was like one big check for just missing time. Like the fact that they couldn't qualify. Yeah, the fact that they couldn't qualify just because their immigration status, they couldn't qualify for unemployment because they're undocumented. So they couldn't get unemployment. So because they couldn't get unemployment, they get to get a big check.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember
that.
That's crazy.
Take a people who aren't employed, right? Who aren't, man, in New York,
who might be unemployed in part because of a surveillance state that's a hyper criminality. They want to quickly put you in the books and put stuff on your record. Now you talk, and it's hard to get a gig when you got some letters on your record, right? Especially that letter F. When you get a lot of these letters, it's hard to get a gig. So, and then you unemployed, so you wouldn't be able to qualify for unemployment.
That's right. Like it did. I mean, Sister Shanna said it was about 15K. So yeah, I think that's the 15.6, if I'm not mistaken. It kind of came back to me just
per person though. I don't think it was per household. So if you got two
per
people,
person.
You know what I mean?
Imagine what you can do with that. You can start businesses. They don't want to do anything for us, family. And you can't just say, yo, y'all got to do it yourselves. How? Do you know what we would do if we had the cap? We read an article earlier. Let me pull it back up. I'm not going to read through it. I'm going to, oh, well, yeah, I could put the link in the chat because we have a shorter link. But let me just pull this up before we get up off of here. Let me pull this up. Small businesses, this is from the New York Times, the Upshot articles. Small businesses have surged in Black communities. Was it the stimulus? And they break down a study that was done that showed that a lot of Black communities across the country, when they got money from the federal government, well, let me be fair, because it wasn't a conclusive study, but it showed that when the stimulus checks started to be given out, there was an uptick in startup businesses in Black neighborhoods. And they're breaking these things down by states. They're breaking them down by states. You see these graphs here, breaking them down. So how the white middle class got the way it did is because of government. Read the book When Affirmative Action Was White by Ira Katznelson. We not just pulling this stuff out our backsides, family. Read the book When Affirmative Action Was White. So, you know, I think we did our job here tonight, brother. What you think?
Yeah, well, something else that I wanted to touch on too. It was and it's something we need to get into, and is that you know, because I know, like we said, we're not looking to just, when you say don't vote blue and vote don't vote blue in 2022. My tongue is not working tonight. But what we're saying essentially is not just to, because some people might hear that and not understand.
Yeah,
they may
they're
think
gonna do that.
they may just think we're saying, you know, we're anti-democrat or what. No, what we're saying is we know we vote Democrat, just like we've been saying, and you probably heard over the last couple of years. But we're saying, you know, we vote Democrat at a high clip. We're pretty much a captured electorate, because where are we gonna go? We're gonna vote for the people who are right now trying to stop
the neo-Confederates.
Yeah, we're gonna vote for the neo-Confederates. Look at this stuff they're doing. They put all kind of widespread voter suppression laws targeting the suppression of the Black vote, because they're seeing that the Black vote turning a red state blue. You see like widespread censorship of teaching about racism and white supremacy in the school system. You seen, and I wanted to touch on that. I mean, that's a serious thing that's going on. So when we say don't vote blue in 2022, we're talking about we need an exchange. It can't just be a captured electorate. We vote for you, and then you lean on us and you make promises and say, you got my back, I get yours, and you don't have our back. Again, like when you say it explicitly like that, and when especially how impactful our vote is, and we get nothing. So what we're saying is, no, you don't just get to continue to get the vote and do nothing and make excuses why you can't do this and why you can't do this, because you don't make them excuses for other groups. You just get it done. You work with Republicans to get whatever you need to get done for every other group. When it comes to us, you know, it's like Tamika Mallory says, well, it's complicated. You can't just sign something.
Do stuff for Black people. It's not that simple. Once you simpleton.
Well, it's not. It's you know what she's saying is you can't just upset the racial hierarchy. You know, the racial hierarchy is white at the top and Black at the bottom.
That's right.
You do something with Black folks, you're messing up the foundation of the racial hierarchy.
Josh, let's play it. Let's play it real quick.
Go ahead.
So he did immigration, you know, obviously stopping this stupid wall that they're building. Yeah. He dealt with the Muslim ban, getting rid of the Muslim ban. He dealt with making sure that I think 11.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. StreamYard been acting up the past couple of nights. Were you able to hear it continuously, or did it freeze?
Yeah. No, it was good.
It was good? Okay, so
Yeah.
let me play it again and hopefully, because it just froze on me.
So he did immigration, obviously stopping this stupid wall that they're building. He dealt with the Muslim ban, getting rid of the Muslim ban. He dealt with making sure that I think 11 million people will become citizens. So he's doing things, right? But with black folks, you can't just sign something to say stop killing black people. It's not that simple.
You on mute, brother.
Yeah, see, it was froze. It just, I don't know, man. It just seemed like
we heard it. Well,
yeah, I know,
heard
but
it clear.
on my end, and it's
okay.
been doing that when I pull up YouTube videos as well. I'm not one of them like conspiracy theorist guys that believe that they're stopping my flow. But I don't know, it's some funny stuff going on the last couple of streams, but it is what it is, man. Somebody said down ballot was never it. And we ain't trying to peel no old scabs, but it's just a fact, man. It's just a fact. You can't say I'm not gonna vote for Biden, but then I'm gonna vote for the senators that's gonna still just come in and push Biden's agenda. They have no agenda for you. No, don't vote blue in 2022 unless these people, that's what we mean, give us the policy that we need. And we got to get in front of Roland Martin and them, because somebody asked the question, do you think it's white supremacy or the buffer or the black buffer class that's the problem? I wish I could find that, man. Let me see if I can find that. But somebody asked the question about white supremacy and the black buffer class. Which one, I believe they were asking, which one do we think is more problematic?
I mean,
both, because one serves the other.
Yeah, but I would say the white supremacy, because, I mean, white supremacy is the reason why you have a black buffer class is because of white supremacy, and that's kind of like their employees, or a lot of times they become proxies. And let's look at it, like 4% of Black Americans are millionaires, and 25%, over 25% of white America is millionaires. So I'd say white supremacy is the reason why you only have that 4%. That's not really growing. It's, if anything, it's shrinking. So
no, we don't like Sanders. Nope. We don't like Sanders over here. Nah, we don't rock with that guy either.
I mean, when it came to a situation where you had to choose, whether it be Sanders or Biden, and then you try to figure out which administration may be amenable, I don't know. Maybe it would have been Sanders, but now we don't have to choose between two, so we're not rocking with that. He kind of already showed his cards, and his cards was not to do anything in terms of specificity for us. Go ahead. What were you just saying about Clyburn?
Yeah, Clyburn made sure it wasn't Sanders. And what would have happened if Sanders was there? Would anything have changed policy-wise? Would they have given us the same watered-down bill that doesn't even mention African Americans? Somebody, Nope said, wasn't he arrested for protesting civil rights in the 1980s? What does that mean exactly?
Who, Sanders?
Yeah.
No, I think it wasn't the 80s. Wasn't it like the 60s or something?
But still 60s, 60s, 70s. But what does that mean?
Now, well, I'll say this about Sanders. We need to learn a lesson. And it's a lesson, again, that the brother Charles Blow brought up in the book. What did Sanders do? Did he just continue to protest forever? Or did he go and get power? Sanders went and got power. him and a bunch of other group of hippies went to Vermont strategically. They told people what they were going to do. They went to Vermont in large numbers, and they took control of the politics of that state. That's why he's been in Congress and really been in power in state politics, and then now national politics with the state for what 4 decades, basically, something like that.
That's right.
Yeah. So
That's
what
right.
we're doing, if you want to learn from Sanders, we don't need to get behind personality. We need to take clues from how was he able to be effective, and then we raise up and put our people in position using some of the same tactics. Now we're talking about the back home strategy. I'm gonna break it down in a few seconds. 55% of Black America remains in the southern states: Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. We're looking to get the majority population in 6 of those states. That will give us 12 senators. It can be done just if half of the 44% that is located outside of the southern states, in these destination cities, relocate strategically into these states, we can get the majority. Now, if we take even more, the 2 highest populated states, top 3 populated states of Black folks in America is New York. I think New York is either number 1 or number 2. Texas and Florida, they're all around like 3.7, 3.8 million or so. If we just get like any type of significant percentage of people to move from Texas and Florida to the southern states, we can really even have a chance at getting a majority in like Maryland, North Carolina, a lot of these other states, right? So we're talking about getting state power. So if you want to talk about Bernie Sanders, yeah, we need to see what did Bernie and his group do to get power in Vermont? How did a bunch of hippies ended up being and dominating the politics of Vermont for decades and decades and decades? They said, we're not going to fight the power, we're going to become the power.
Facts.
By taking action. We're going to move to this state. We're going to, intentionally. And we have a certain type of politics we want to do. We have a certain type of things we want to do, and we're going to shape it. We have to get the numbers. So just understand this: we would be in control of state politics. We're talking about governors. We're talking about senators and House reps and state Congress, and all the different positions within the state. We would be in power if we weren't driven out of our homeland. Essentially, we were refugees. We didn't get no type of refugee status that was protected and funded and all this kind of stuff. A lot of us still refugees. We were driven out by white terrorism, by land theft, by a Jim Crow system, by being made to be impoverished and all this kind of stuff, and needing to escape that. We were driven out. If we were not driven out, we would in fact be in power. So what we're telling is just go back and get the power you're supposed to have anyway. And if you want to take something from Bernie Sanders, take that.
Indeed. So look, we're gonna start to close this thing out. Cato, he brought up some important points. He said, Josh, Blow forgot to mention one very important fact. Most hippies were rich and white. Then he said he asked Blow, would he be willing to use his resources and connections to actually start an organization to facilitate the reverse migration? And he said no. And that's okay. I think, that's okay. It's in our hands now.
Yeah.
Right.
Really and realistic, my bad, brother. But realistically, he's not really, he's not a wealthy guy. I mean, he's semi-influential, but if you talk to most Black folks, they never heard of him. So, and he doesn't, to me, I mean, he's out there, but it's gonna take all of us to do that. and this is not trying to let him get off the hook with it, because he needs to take action as well, and I believe he is. He just may not be trying to build an organization behind it. But like when we interviewed him, he said he had just did a meeting with like 30 black mayors. Remember he said that?
Yeah.
So I wish we could collaborate in some type of way.
Yeah. We might have to become mayors first.
Yeah.
All right. Robert Reed said, I think people should look into the People's Party. These progressives are looking to start running candidates. They're literally sending out emails asking if people want to run on their platform. On the last, I think it was either the last live stream or the live stream before last, some people kind of said that they had issues with this People's Party. I haven't looked deeper into them, but as soon as I get off of here tonight, I am going to. They've actually contacted us by email. I was kind of busy when I seen the email, so I'm glad that comment came up so that I can look at it. But I mean, at the end of the day, we are trying to create the Freedmen's Party or the Freedmen's Caucus at the least. I just don't want to be aligned with any of the binary parties, or as Josh said on the last stream, we want to become non-binary. Politically, don't get it twisted. Politically, so
yeah. But wait, look, man, we reparationists at the end of the day. So, we're not talking about reparations going to illegal alien children or something like that.
Hold on, Josh. We gotta bring this up, bro.
Okay.
This is deep. My cousin says she will retire in Texas because Texas will not tax her military pension, but Georgia will. How do we get them to the South when the South tax a lot? No help for single parents and low income. That's true. That's true. Cato is saying don't do it when it comes to the party, but I got to get back to I got to hear them out. Cato. I'm a hear them out and see what they talking about. But
that's an interesting point. But one thing I will say, they don't tax, but what happened when
they do tax or they don't tax?
No, there's no state
Texas?
tax.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Texas. There's no state tax there. But what happened when the freeze happened in Texas? Now I want to know if that has something to do with having like a more limited budget because you have less tax revenues coming in. Is that something that is just an individual thing, or was that something that could have been prevented if maybe the state had taken measures to make sure that would never happen? I don't know. I'm just putting things out there. So yeah, that's a good question as far as state tax. They incentivize states like Florida and Texas. They incentivize people to move there because they don't have the state tax. But I'll be curious to see. We already know the wealth level of the people in Florida. Well, our wealth level is low everywhere, but that is interesting. That is interesting. So what I say to that is we have to work with and get in contact with some of these mayors, black mayors, and people that have some type of power, and come up with some type of incentives for people to move. It's we're not going to, of course, they're probably not going to change it to where the states don't collect tax, but there has to be some type of incentive that can get more of our people to move. Now, maybe not Texas and Florida, and I mentioned that. So yeah, that's a hard draw to go from no state tax to take tax, but from the states that's already taxing, it still needs to be more of an incentive to get our people to move back. But go ahead, bro. What was you about to say?
Now, I just want to get to Cato's comment. He said, he added me, he said, they are just another progressive party until they get to the policies specific for Native Black Americans, and then they get all status quo defenders, they can go to hell. So what I would like to do, because I'm going to reach out to the person that reached out to me I'm going to see if we can have a conversation first and see if we can get them to come on the platform. And Brother Cato, I will actually invite you on to, if counters are needed or proofs need to be shown to support which, because I don't really know too much about them. I keep hearing about these parties. I kept hearing about the Green Party. I mean, I just want something that's started by us, that's pushed by us. And, we can call it the Freedmen Caucus at first, but we got to do something that we're in control of. Then we ain't got to worry about nobody else at all. And then and then we can grow our numbers large enough to absorb those people from a Green Party or the People's Party into into what we're doing based on the policy prescriptions that we're crafting for our people, period. So some people are saying the Green Party is where it's at, though. I looked at them, I think it was around September. I don't know. I seen some things that I didn't like personally, but, nothing is not worth giving a second look to, but I'm just ready to get this thing moving, man. So we are at the 2-hour mark, Brother Josh. Did you have anything else that you wanted to share before we got up off air? I can't hear you, bro, if you're speaking. All right. I think my brother Josh is having audio. Yeah, he was having audio issues. So let me see if he's going to jump back on. If not, all right, there you go. You have anything you want to add before we get up out of here, bro?
Oh, man. Yeah, I just want to say, whether it be Green Party, Blue Party, People's Party, at the end of the day, I'll say this too. I think the perspective that we come from, people are not used to hearing it. They don't expect that, like they never even thought that it needs to be a specific agenda just for Native Black Americans, for the freedmen, in the same way with specificity back in the day, because they used to just say people of color, and we was almost all of the so-called people of color. And I want to say this too. I saw Sister Roz had posted, this is a Facebook post from, I don't know, last week. She said, what do you think of when people say colored people and when they say people of color? Are they the same thing? Will you get offended if somebody call you a colored person or people? I'll get offended if somebody call me either one, because but you know what I'm saying? What do people mean when they say colored people versus people of color? And I would say, well, when I heard colored, I was just thinking about it being us, because the historical context, it was like synonymous with Negro. Because most of the people that when they say colored, they was not really talking about a whole lot of other people at that time, especially in the South. And so people's lens of politics, they can just group all those together like they would use the term colored in the 60s or the 50s or 30s or whatever. And today you can't just do that. And you can't lump everybody's plight into the sameness, because the reason why I'm the causation of why my group is at the bottom, or people in my group may be poor or disadvantaged, in why other groups may be disadvantaged is completely different. Like, you can't think about how outrageously just insane how we can be 10th generation Americans, 12th, 15th, 17th generation Americans, and still be at the same level that somebody is coming from a third world country that's first generation. That is just insane. So that you can't compare the two. when you say, that's why we say like Black and Latino. Well, somebody coming as a refugee from Guatemala, or that swam over, from somewhere, you can't compare that to somebody who is a descendant of chattel slavery, right? Of somebody who was enslaved, and somebody who's been through Jim Crow, that people were terrorized, their land was stolen, it was locked out of federal policies. They didn't get no Homestead Act. They didn't get no GI Bill. They didn't get all these different things that were locked out. They went through crack. They went through urban renewal. They went through redlining. They went through all these different things. Their families are broken. They went through mass incarceration. That's why we're at the position we're at today. It's not because we just came from another country, or, that's not, you can't compare those two are not the same. So if you're and these other political parties that call themselves progressive, you really can't say you're progressive if you're not trying to fight for the remedying what is the reason why we're in the position we're in first. Like that, we have to be the priority first. Go ahead.
Progressive means LGBT rights and women rights.
See,
and immigration rights and the Green New Deal. Right. Yeah. And I personally don't have a problem with the Green New Deal. It's something that's politicized when it comes to curbing carbon emissions and things of that nature. But that's what progressivism is. True progressivism stemmed from the radical Republicans, who were the left wing, not the right wing Republicans of today, the radical Republicans of Reconstruction that fought for our people's freedom and then fought for our reparations. That's period. Right. So
yeah, and they implemented what they were trying to do. They were trying to do reparations, essentially through Thaddeus Stevens' HR 29. That was one of the examples where it wasn't something that was given to all Americans. Like the like what I hear from progressives is the rising tide will lift all the boats. You got to understand that we, for the reasons I just outlined, we were made into, not only like are we boatless people. Like I think maybe you're looking at like a new immigrant or something coming from a third world country or whatever. They may be like a boatless person. They're swimming. They just need to hold on to some driftwood. They need a life raft. Well, we were made into crabs. We were made into crabs. So we're not even floating. Most of us are at the bottom. And when the tide rises, a crab is still a bottom feeder. The crab is still, that doesn't matter. That just increases the pressure. See, when you add more water on top, all that does is increase the pressure on top of the people at the bottom. That doesn't lift the crab. The crab is not made to be lifted. The crab is made to eat the stuff that's at the bottom of the water. So when you add more water and all that kind of stuff, you just push more pressure down on them, and
that's a perfect analogy, man.
So you can't just think that works for us, because we just understand, like we talked about what we could do with a little, because with Naheem, what you talked about that article at the beginning, when you're talking about the stimulus checks helped us disproportionately. How much was people's stimulus? You were getting $1,600 here and $1,700. I don't remember what. Yeah, and your household might have got some per kid.
$1,400.
Yeah, that's not no capital. That's like
capital.
That's like one paycheck or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? 1 month's pay you got or something. That's not but people was able to start businesses with that. So for these other parties, like, you just have to understand that you're not going to be able to affect Black voters until you speak to their needs directly, and not through some type of trying to backdoor them with, we're gonna do something to specifically help you, but then you just say, well, it's actually gonna be a side benefit of helping everybody. Like, while I'm in the situation I'm in, it's not the same reason. And another thing is, you can't look at it because they don't want to look at the data through labor and wages and income. That's why we frame things through wealth.
You know, we frame things through wealth because wealth is, like I said, is largely a result of generations of accumulation. You know, it's not something that the majority of people build up in one lifetime or within the generation. So, you know, you can see generational accrual and you can see generational plunder. You understand? So we're in the generational plunder category. So that's why it needs to be generational correction of that. Go ahead.
There we go.
What they got now?
Here we go with one of these guys. We are Moors. A loyal, I'm a Moor family. First, let me be clear. I recognize myself as a Moorish American, first and foremost. But this right here is foolishness. This is the type of foolishness that made me walk away from the movement because nobody was out there protecting the movement from this nonsense and nobody knew what the movement was really about. It's stuff like this right here that made me walk away. And every time these people come, I love to highlight. So people look at the foolishness, right? Look at the foolishness. We are Moors, a loyal, unalienable rights, and original heirs to all of North America and beyond. So there's, some type of system, I guess, where the land was bequeathed down to us from, like, that's not how it works at all. He or she continues, their false politics only apply to us so long as we permit and assume the lawfully colored titles. And then real hate goes on to cite those titles. Black, Negro, colored. Unfortunately, we are under occupation by conquest. So that implies that this was our land and the Europeans came over here and we were so weak as mighty Moorish warriors, not like the ones in Africa that fought off white supremacy fought them off for hundreds of years, conquered their land in Europe, took over Europe and ruled for 700 years. Not those Moors. Over here was a weaker brand of Moors. I guess that's where real hate's line descend from, the weak Moors that were over here and just let the European come over here and just set up shop and enslave everybody and change their native names or their tribal names or national names to colorable titles like Black, Negro. And come on, if you don't get out here with this foolishness. And we got to point that stuff out every time it comes up.
Hold on, I'm about to put a link in the chat. You know, y'all welcome to refute what we're saying. I'm gonna put the link in the chat from the Dane Calloway show.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We destroyed all of that stuff that we're really Black Indians, and like we got to get out of that stuff. It's escapism, fam. Like, so the person says, "All right, I'll give you a couple more seconds." How is it nonsense? Look up colorable under Black's Law Dictionary. This is an entire system, family. For those, this person doesn't know me. Probably, I'm gonna guess. I've been doing this for 10, 11 years, right? Over a decade. I started with this type of nonsense right here.
Me too.
Talking the same crap.
Me too.
Right? Josh started the same way. Most of the brothers on Be the Power, most of us started with talking this crap right here. Right? So then you look up colorable under Black's Law Dictionary, which they don't believe that you have, but I have one sitting right there. Right?
I got one on my shelf too.
You got one on your shelf as well.
Come on,
then
man.
we look up colorable, and then we see that the way they're trying to apply the term colorable is not in line with the actual definition of the dictionary that they're telling us to look up the term in the first place. Come on. Let's get out of this nonsense, fam. Let's get out of this nonsense. Like Sister Riri says, just some BS.
Everybody's looking for the escape hatch and the off ramp to being a freedman. You know,
so
like I want to say, look, you are more okay, cool. You can call yourself what you want to call.
Sister Riri got one too. A lot of us on the BTP platform got Black's Law Dictionary. So you ain't coming up in here thinking you saying something new, because we done cracked that Black's Law Dictionary out on this platform several times to debunk a couple cats that was lying. So chill.
Facts.
Chill.
We got a lot more books than that.
Facts.
Like
I got the whole UCC manual, the Uniform
Right.
Commercial Code manual, and none of that stuff that they be pushing with that pseudo-sovereign citizen stuff is in the actual UCC manual, which is about as thick as the Black's Law Dictionary. I got that over there somewhere as well. Like I got books everywhere. So I mean,
yeah, and you don't have the police. I mean, you don't have the power to do anything about it. Like you think you can tie somebody up with they gonna hit you with that paper terrorism felony?
That's right.
Putting some liens on somebody, which you think you gonna squat in the house? They gonna hem you up for that?
That's
They
right.
got something for you. Look. We just where is that that video that we that we was talking about last time, man, where they got it was a long, hour-long police video, law enforcement task force training.
It's in the chat, but yeah, everybody need to see that crap. They
Y'all
already
see that? The police they ready for you. They even calling out wars on there. Come on.
All right, so here we go. More nonsense. We're gonna get off here after this. Treaty of Peace and Friendship is the oldest standing treaty in this one period. Even Obama recognizes it, never pushed UCCs. Okay, I just brought up UCCs because usually people that are saying the nonsense that you're saying real hate are into UCC. So let's address this real quick. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship between the United States of America and Morocco is definitely a real thing, right? That's a real thing. It never ever protected our people when the United States of America became a nation as a whole. There were instances in 1790 where the treaty was used, right? The Moors Free and Sundry Act for a group of eight Moors who were Maroons. There were other instances, Abdul Rahman III, where the Sultan of Morocco came to this brother's aid because he spoke Arabic, et cetera, right? In 1956, Dwight D. Eisenhower put out a memorandum relinquishing, please, just look this up, family. Just look this up. It relinquished the power that the treaty being codified, and I think that's U.S. Code 22 or 23. I'm rusty on a lot of this stuff, but all of those provisions were repealed. It essentially made the treaty a toothless tiger, right? So this person says Article 20 or 21, read the whole thing, just saying Dred Scott case, we've read the whole thing. I just said that we've been doing this for years. In fact, we were the one that found the missing article because the fraud, Taj Tariq Bey, was out there with the treaty that was missing, I believe, the 8th article. And he instead broke up the 7th article and made that number. We're the ones that corrected that stuff. Like, you don't know who you're talking to, fam. So I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna get off of that stuff. Yeah. And we 2 hours and 18 minutes in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna put one more link in the chat.
Yeah, definitely.
What we're saying is you're wasting your time. You're never going to get anything but wasting your time, wasting your life, surrounding yourself with toxic people that ain't going nowhere and affecting no change. And economically, politically, you're gonna lose money. You're gonna get fleeced of money. You're gonna bring down your community. You're gonna miseducate more people around you. We're trying to tell you, if somebody had already been through up a mountain and through a minefield, and we telling you where all the places that you're gonna slide down the mountain, right? Or you're gonna fall down that. We're gonna tell you where all the mines are in the minefield. Why are you trying to tell us? No, it's no mines over there. Well, when we already then like seen people get blown up, and part of us then got took some shrapnel.
Oh God.
You gotta understand that we talk.
Hey,
talking to
real
people that
hate, get
know
out of
better.
here. Get out of
Yeah.
here, man. The USA Corporation. Get out of here with
All
that
right,
crap.
keep on,
Look,
keep
man.
on playing.
Yeah, we gonna end this one. We may expand the platform to discuss more social issues. I've been thinking about that all today based on a series of debates that I've had from Twitter to Facebook about certain topics. And I think I want to have some social discussion / debates, inner circle stuff. Maybe we could invite people on that also agree or disagree with certain topics or certain people, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm thinking about doing that on the other channel because we need to join in these conversations so that we can pull them back to a specific point, number one. And that point is that we're all effed up, point blank, period. And there are groups of us that serves as buffer classes of white supremacy. And some people don't want to admit that certain people are also en masse serving as buffer classes to white supremacy, even if they don't know that they are. So I think that having that discussion will be, will be needed and had on our other channel. Okay, hold on. Looney says, I'll take this one before we get off. Looney asks, I'm new to this channel. Does this channel consider themselves African or Indian? No, I'm not African. I'm American. I'm definitely not Indian. Indian refers to the copper-colored people that the Europeans found when they came over here, and they gave them the name Indian, which has nothing to do with the word indigo, meaning black. Right? You could just look up the etymology of the term Indian. I'm American, but my ancestry is of African descent. We don't deny that at all, right? We don't deny that at all. So, we don't. I'm American. I'm a straight up and down American. So, all right, with that, family, we're gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna leave y'all with the platforms. Call it the preem circle. Inner circle is too reminiscent. And I like that. Politics rules everything around me. All right. We might do that. The preem circle. The preem circle. Honest, brother Vince. So all right, let us get up off here. Don't just fight the power, family. Become the power. And then and only then will you have the power to make a change. And with that, I say peace.
Peace.